Okay, so today we will be doing the SpongeBob Square Bag Lab, which is found on page 4 of your lab book. If you don't have your lab book, you can always just open the Google Doc and fill out the data straight on the Google Doc. Okay, it's all there. We're going to actually start on page 6, and we're going to start by filling out this data table. All right. All you need to do is write down some observations about the following 4 chemicals. Okay, so calcium chloride is the first chemical you're going to observe. Just write down what it looks like. You can see right here. Okay, write some observations down. Now you need to write down some observations about sodium bicarbonate. You can see what that looks like. And then lastly, you need to write down some observations of phenol red. So this is phenol red. And then write down some observations about water. Okay, it has a D in front of it because it is distilled water. Alright, so hopefully you've written down some observations just about the physical appearance of those things. Now, the procedures tell us that what I need to do is take a Ziploc bag, so I have one of those right here, and I am going to put in this Ziploc bag calcium chloride and sodium bicarbonate and some phenol red. And all you need to do is observe what happens and write down your observations right here where it says bag 1 mixture. Alright, so I'm putting in the calcium chloride. It's all going to go down in one corner. And I've got sodium bicarbonate. I'm putting in the other corner. Trying to keep them separated for the time being. And now I'm going to add phenol red just into the middle of the bag. Alright, and I'm going to zip up the bag, and then I'm just going to let these 3 things mix together. And then you need to write down your observations. You can see down here we've got a nice chemical reaction going. Okay, there's some fizzing going on. Obviously you can see a very drastic color change. And if you could feel this bag, it would feel very warm. Okay, so it's warm. So that's one of the observations you want to write down. It's warm, it's fizzing, and it's yellow. Okay, there's a color change. So you can see that there's air being created, the bag's kind of expanding. I'm going to walk over here so I can make sure you can see. Okay. Alright, so that is part 1. That is data table A. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do a series of smaller experiments. So this data table B is what we're going to be filling out now. And what our job is we need to figure out which chemicals are causing each of the changes we saw here. So we're going to figure out what is making the mixture turn warmer, and what is making it fizz, and what is making it turn yellow. Okay, so I am going to add different combinations to these different bags, and we will write down some observations. Okay, you just need to check which things I'm adding as I add them. So we're going to start with calcium chloride and phenol red. Okay, whenever we're adding phenol red, we're also adding water. So you need to check calcium chloride, phenol red, and water for this one. So check those 3 boxes, and then we'll see what happens. So there's calcium chloride. And here's the phenol red. Okay, and it's pink. If you were to feel this bag, it would feel very, very warm. Okay, there is definitely a temperature change happening. Okay, it's not turning yellow, but the bag is getting warm. So you want to write down that on the observations. Write down that the bag is getting warm. Okay, now we are going to try sodium bicarbonate and phenol red. So for number 2, check sodium bicarbonate, phenol red, and water, because again, the phenol red is dissolved in water. So sodium bicarbonate, phenol red. Okay, so it's still pink. There's not much of a temperature change. If anything, it's a little cool. It's not getting warm though. Okay, so you can just write down the color. Other than that, not much is happening. So back to this one, we know that calcium chloride has something to do with the temperature change. But we want to figure out if it is the phenol red or the water that is needed to make that temperature change happen. Okay, I don't have phenol red by itself, but I do have water alone. So I'm now going to try calcium chloride and water and see if the temperature still changes. If it does, we'll know that all you need is calcium chloride and water in order to make that temperature change. So let's try calcium chloride and water. Okay, there's no color change, but the bag is getting warmer. Alright, so on this one you should have just marked calcium chloride and water and write down that it is getting warmer. There is a temperature change. So we now know that calcium chloride and water cause the temperature change. This makes sense because calcium chloride is rock salt. This is the stuff you put on your driveway that ends up melting ice. So it makes sense that it might make this warm. Alright. Now let's go ahead and try just sodium bicarbonate and water, see if anything happens with just those two chemicals by themselves. Okay. No temperature change. I'm not seeing any fizzing. There's no color change. Alright, so sodium bicarbonate and water, not really doing anything. It's just baking soda and water, so we wouldn't expect much. Alright, now I'm still trying to figure out what is making the fizzing happen. I've got one more trial that I can do. I've already tried calcium chloride by itself and sodium bicarbonate by itself. Maybe if I mix them together. So let's put in calcium chloride. So mark calcium chloride on number 5. And sodium bicarbonate. And we already tried this with phenol red, but let's try it just with water and see if that causes